So, Potters Arf, not half, Arf, with apostrophe over the A, special. We've got Natalie Jolley with us, and we've also got best friend to the show, I want to say now, Ken Rushton with us, fourth time lucky. So, Natalie, first and foremost, introduce yourself.
I'm Natalie. I work at Stoke-on-Trent City Council. Bit of background on me. I used to work at the Don Louise Children's Hospice as the event manager over there. So I organise things from like the annual ball, golf day, through to the 10K and 5K. Started off at the council as a lifeguard, worked my way through, and I'm now service development manager as of about 2 weeks ago. So we had a bit of a restructure at work. But Potters Arf still falls under my remit, so kind of all sort of events like that sits underneath me with the team. So it's great to be involved again this year.
But you're not a runner.
No, I'm not a runner.
We'll get it out of the way. First and foremost, we'll get it out of the way.
Guys, I'm not a runner. I'll do 5K. I have got some nice running shoes. I've got the gear. I am a gym goer, a dancer, a swimmer. Running, I get to the 5K mark and I'm kind of starting to think, okay, what's for tea? What am I doing tonight? I kind of start thinking like that.
You haven't got long enough to think about that.
I get to like sort of 3K and I'm starting to think like that. My other half though is a running fanatic. He does a lot of running and he's desperate to get me to go running with him, trail running, all this stuff. So maybe one day there's hope.
Well, I was going to say, you're not a runner just yet. So we've had another non-runner on the show. If people can remember back, we had Adam Burgess, the canoe slalomist, and he has started to run. Actually, he reached out to us and told us that he started to run. So it might happen after you've been on this podcast. We might have a positive impact on you. You might start running.
Exactly. You'll have to get us both back in and do another podcast about the journey from not running to running.
Couch to coach, got it already.
There we go. That's the whole premise of this show, to get people into running, to get people that are running listening to this podcast, to get some hints, some tips, and that's what we're doing now. So how long have you been organising, running Potters Arf? Is this your first time or second, third?
This year's third year. So I came into the role in 2020. Obviously, everything was completely shut down, living from home, working from home, didn't leave the house kind of thing for the whole year. So 2020 was cancelled, and then my first year was in 2021. So obviously that year, 22, and then this year's the third year.
So the pressure was on, especially after COVID, when you were starting back running.
The pressure was on.
Everybody wanted to get back into a big event, because I think the first time I did it was 2020. I think 2021. So it was after the lockdown. So this is my third time. I've got my number 352 for people that are interested. So this is my third time running and getting better every year. Hopefully this time I'm going to get closer to 2 hours. It's a very tough course, though, isn't it?
It's nasty. Yeah, I've actually driven around it today. Just double checking all the marshal points on the potholes, but all of the marshal points, and just making sure that everything's all sorted. And even driving it, I just think, how on earth can you begin to think about running this course, all those hills?
There's a big pothole.
Does it go up Heartbreak Hill? Is this the thing that you were talking? You live on Heartbreak Hill, right?
I do. I live at the top of Heartbreak Hill, so I train on
Heartbreak.
From
you then, I'm just down the road from you.
How are you? There you go.
Yeah.
So Heartbreak Hill. It's a kill. I know it's not your fault, Natalie. I know it wasn't your idea to put it right at the end, but it's a killer because it's right at the end. Mile, I'd say probably 11.5 to 12. And you're running down. And for people that never ran it before, you're running around, you're thinking, oh, I'm right, near the end. And then you turn a corner and all you can see, as you're faced with, it doesn't look too bad when you're driving up it. It doesn't look too bad when you're walking up it. But when you've just run another 11.5 miles, you're thinking to yourself, how am I going to get up this Mount Everest?
But I have heard that there's people that give out jelly beans or jelly babies. They've got the water hose pipes. I have even heard there's somebody that's got beer and wine on the course. I don't know who that person is, but they're a legend.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
That's what I would need at that point in the race.
That's what you
I've
want
ran
for
past them.
hydration, isn't it? Beer and wine. I don't agree too much with the jelly babies. I was doing Birmingham half marathon 2 weeks ago, and one of the runners that I coach saw her at the finish line. Sarah, she's a listener to the show. She did absolutely fantastic, but was having a beer afterwards in like the party zone or whatever they called it, and she went, I nearly threw up at 11 miles because I'd used Love Hearts as a fuel, like the actual sugary Love Hearts, and they fizz up. And I just looked at her and just went, that was never in the coaching, never. So avoid jelly babies if they're handing them out. I don't agree with them.
I had on the Great North Run, I had, do you know them Straubs, they're called Straubs, them Haribo Straubs. I can remember it was like mile 2, I think it was, and I was running and I thought, oh, I'll have one of them, took one of them. Nearly choked to death. I was coughing. I had to spit it out because I couldn't, because running and chewing at the same time must be really difficult for me. So yeah, stick to your fuel that you know. Appreciate the people that are out on course giving them out, but I'm going to stick to the fuel I know.
Can I bring Ken in at this point? Ken, back in your running days, I know that you were a very serious runner. We've talked about some of your times. What was your fuel of choice back then?
Pre-race, bread and jam.
Here we go, bread and jam.
Yeah, bread and jam, and strawberry as well. Because the thing is that it's easy to digest, but also it's a slow release as well, so that you didn't get the highs off sugar. So yeah, my choice pre-race was always brown bread and jam.
Sensible choice. What do you think of Rob's 2 Weetabix milk and a bit of honey? Sensible or not?
I think as long as you've tried it in training and it works, absolutely fine. You find what suits you. The only thing I'd say to anybody, whether they're seasoned runners or the new runners, don't try something just before race day that you've never tried before. If you want to try something, do it a few weeks before, do your run, and see that you've got no reaction. But you find what suits you. But always have things that are easily digestible. I mean, the Weetabix and honey, absolutely fine. That'll digest and give you slow release.
The smaller
but sometimes is the milk part won't agree with some people. So it's always don't try something for the first time on your race day.
Yeah, I have skim milk. It's just a splash of skim milk because I can't get it dry. So I even, when I went to, I can't remember if I mentioned this on the podcast. It's been 6 months now I've been doing this podcast. When I went down to London, family that I haven't seen for years, I even said to them, I need 2 Weetabix, I need semi-skim, I need skim milk, and I need honey. So, hello, welcome back to the family, Rob, but I need the Weetabix.
Demanding. Very demanding.
I did very demanding. I can't believe it. I mean, they got it out for me, so that was no problem at all.
Natalie, can I ask you a question? Go on, I've interrupted Rob again. I've got another question. Just one on fuel. So, know these races, you organise these races. They normally have like a fuel sponsor or hydration sponsor or whatever it might be. Potters Arf's got one, I'm assuming. I don't know.
So we've had a water sponsor this year. So Tile Mountain have come on board and they're sponsoring all the water stations. So we've got 4 out on course and then 1 at the finish line. And then we've got a couple of local businesses. So we've got Runners Relief and Protein Rebel who've come on board and they're popping something into the goodie bags at the end. So the goodie bags actually this year are I think they're quite good compared to previous years. They're looking all right. So I think people will be quite pleased with what they get at the end of the race this year.
Excellent. And do you as the organiser approach them? What's that, sorry?
So I'm not giving any secrets away.
Okay, no secrets. Do you approach these companies, being local companies, or do they contact you?
So both of those contacted myself. In terms of like the water sponsor and other sponsors, it's a bit of both really. They sometimes contact us or we'll get in touch with them. It depends what we need. If it's somebody coming on board with something new and we think it's going to be a great addition to the event, then we're always open for those conversations. But obviously this year we've had a couple of sponsors who've sponsored annually for a number of years. Due to the impact of COVID, they've no longer continued and therefore haven't been able to sponsor the event this year. So we have had to sort of make those approaches and look elsewhere. I've
got a question, and you said no secret, so I can't imagine you're going to answer this question anyway. But the medal, is it a ceramic again?
No.
So it's not. It's not.
It's not ceramic.
Oh, so hot off the press, guys. People are listening. We haven't got a ceramic medal this year.
It's not ceramic this year.
I quite like the ceramic ones. They were made by Wade, weren't they?
They were made by Wade Ceramics, yeah. They were really. I liked them as well. I know there was mixed opinions about them in the running community. Obviously, we went to the timed ribbons, but this year it's not ceramic.
Oh, there you go, guys. So if that's exclusive for you, I'm going to put a jingle in there, bit of an exclusive. It's not ceramic. Not going to give us anything else away, but it's not ceramic. So there you go. Brilliant.